Welcome back to Learn SKN, and today we're going to continue our look at the January 2021 CSEC Principles of Business Paper 2. First things first, like the video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell one time. So big up the video so that we can, tell YouTube, okay, this is a good video, let's share it. So we're looking at Paper 2 from January 2021 for Principles of Business, POB. And the last video we looked at question 1. And so today we're going to jump into question 2. We're going to jump right into question 2 for today. And so question 2 asks us, list 4 steps that should be taken in establishing a business. So 4 marks, list 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're good to go. So we're going to list 4 steps that should be taken in establishing a business. And so we're going to jump to our textbook and look at the essential steps in establishing a business. And by the way, I actually did a video already, a complete video on establishing the business, a lecture on establishing the business. So you can browse through the Principles of Business playlist and you would get that video. So we're not going to go too in depth because it was covered already. And so we're listing here. We have conceptualization. This involves developing the business idea or concept. So as the name suggests, conceptualization, what you're doing is you have a business idea and you're thinking it through in your head. So when you have a business idea, it is essential to ask a question like, who is the business idea aimed at and how will it be delivered to the customers? Is it feasible and will it generate an income? So the conceptualization phase is you have the idea and then you start formulating that idea in your head to see if it's something that is viable or not. So conceptualization. Then of course you have market research, right? Or market probe. And this is where you go out and you try to conduct research to see, well, not full on research just yet, but you conduct enough research to know if the business idea that you conceptualize is actually plausible, if it's feasible. After the idea has been conceptualized, you should do some market research to find the characteristics of the consumers in your target market, the product features they want, and the prices they will be willing and able to pay. So the next one is market research. Remember again, there's a video that goes in depth, and so you can look at that video to get further information. Then you have identification of resources. So you conceptualize, you did the research, now you have to identify your resources. Starting and running a business needs resources. You must identify resources you will need, including material, machinery, equipment, etc., etc. Then you have creation of a business plan. So conceptualize, research, then you look at the identification of the resources, and now we are looking at creation of a business plan. You should have a plan for how the business idea will be implemented. A business plan is a well-researched and detailed statement about the business proposal. Again, we went in depth with a business proposal, so the business plan. So find the video for that one and you'll be able to delve deeper. Then we have sourcing or acquisition of funds. So now you have to find the money to start the business. You will need money to start and run your business in order to buy or hire the resources for your business. So you have to know where you're going to get the monies from. So you have to know where you're going to acquire your money, your capital, your funds from. That's the next step. So you have to go and actually acquire the funds, get the monies. And then the last step is the operation of the business. A good business plan will include a detailed operational plan or a roadmap for setting up and running the business. So you list any of those 4 and you'll get your full mark for that one. Remember I said to list and not to outline or describe. So just listing. Number 2A, part 2. Identify the 2 main sources of information necessary for conducting research into the establishment of a business. And of course, the 2 main sources of information would be your primary research and your secondary research. And so you have them listed nicely in the textbook. There are various ways in which information can be collected in a feasibility study. These can be from primary or secondary sources. So primary or secondary sources are from qualitative or quantitative research. So the main thing is primary and secondary sources. And so what are primary sources? Primary sources are where the data is captured from original sources for the first time. And then the secondary resource the information already collected that can be accessed to be analyzed for market research. And they get those things from, you can get your primary resource from things like observations, interviews, questionnaires, and you can get your secondary resources from things like statistical report, company annual reports, newspaper articles, following social media, competitive analysis, etc., etc. So you list those two: primary resource, secondary resource, and you should get your 2 marks. Identify the 2 main sources of information for conducting research, and you have your primary and your secondary sources. They didn't ask you to explain them, they just said to identify them, right? But to maximize the marks, you might want to, if you got time, you put in a little definition, and that'll be cool too. State 4 reasons for preparing a business plan. So we're on to part B of number 2. State 4 reasons for preparing a business plan. Once again, this topic has been covered in a separate video, so look at that video out from the playlist and you'll be able to handle that. I'll link the video. You'll see the video at the end of this video. So we're looking at 4 reasons for preparing a business plan. And so in the textbook they highlighted about 5 reasons. So some reasons for preparing a business plan: 1, to research and assess the feasibility of the business. And so they ask you to just state, right? So that's 4 marks. So to research and assess the feasibility of the business. So you carry out a business plan to see if the business is actually feasible, if it actually can be done, to see if it's actually possible. 2, to attract potential investors. Of course, you want people to invest in your business. You want banks to be able, you may want a friend, a family, venture capitalists to invest in your business, but they would want to see a plan to know that you know what you're talking about. This business is something I can get behind, and so you have to show them. You can't just go word of mouth and say, let's jump in business together without a plan. If you're serious about investing, they're not going to take you on without a plan. So you need a business plan for that. To raise finance, of course, the same thing. In order to get persons to but in order to get a loan, if you're going to a bank for a loan, a business loan, the bank wants to see a proper plan, because without a plan, they have no idea what your business is about, if it's actually feasible, when it will become profitable, those things. So the bank need information in order for them to even give you any monies at all. Then to guide the operations of the business when making decisions. So based on your plan, the plan can help you outline where you want to go, where you were and where you want to go, and your end goal. So the business plan can be used as a guide throughout the operation of the business. So it's not like after you finish getting the loan or the investment, you show the business plan. No, you can use the business plan as a guide to guide the company, to show the company where to go, or what steps they have to take to achieve certain objectives. And then you have to ensure that the business complies with all the necessary laws and regulations. So you have to make sure that the business is properly registered. The business has all the T's crossed, the I's dot, everything, because the plan supposed to be well detailed. And so if you miss something in your conceptualizing phase and things like that, the plan can draw that to your attention and have you correct that right there. All right. And so those are 5 reasons for preparing a business plan. There are others, but those are the 5 main ones we're going to be looking at. And then so that's number 2B, 4 marks, you're good to go. Then we have number 2C, outline 2 differences between short-term planning and long-term planning. So this is a relatively recall-filled question. We have to just call back to what you know. So outline 2 differences between short-term planning and long-term planning. So the 2 differences between the short-term planning and long-term planning. Now, the key differences between these 2 types of planning, you would see things such as the time frame. That's one of the major differences, the time frame. The short-term planning would normally entail more short-term objectives or short-term goals. And the term short-term, yes, it's relative to different businesses, but for the most part, it's normally within a year. It's under a year. So is the goals or the objectives that a business hopes to achieve within, the next 5 months, 8 months, basically under a year. Things like, they want to increase their profit by 10%. They want to make 10% more profit in the first quarter. Or they want to reach 10,000 units in the first quarter. Something like that. So that's one difference, the time frame. Also, the nature of the goals or the nature of the objectives are different between short-term planning and long-term planning. So for short-term planning, you have objectives that are a little bit more specific, a little bit more direct, and a little bit more achievable within a shorter span of time. So we're looking at things that you can actually see. It's more how should I put it? It's more measurable. So it's more specific, it's more measurable within a shorter time frame. So those type of goals. But for the long term now, so long term planning is normally beyond 5 years or more. Those are normally, part of the mission, outlining the mission statement in a sense. And the objectives or the goals are normally more general. They're normally more general for the long term objectives, long-term goals. They're normally more general. So like I said, a lot of it is outlined. A lot of it may be outlined in a mission statement. So let's recap again. So the short term, normally more the time frame is shorter, of course, and that's under a year. So the goals are more specific and more measurable in a shorter span of time. Then you have the long-term goals, long-term planning, that planning that goes from 5 years and beyond. And the objectives are normally, or the goals are normally more general. They normally pull from they normally part of the mission statement and things like that. All right, so those are the two major differences between short-term planning and long-term planning. All right, D. Explain one benefit of collateral to the borrower and one benefit to the lender in the establishment of a business. And so this is a big one, the 6-mark question, the 6-point question. And so, first of all, what is collateral? And so you might want to define what collateral is. So that's the first thing you have to do. Define what collateral is, and then explain the benefit to the borrower and the benefit to the lender. So collateral refers to possessions or physical and financial assets of value that can be sold off to raise cash to repay a loan. For example, you have properties, stocks, bonds, equipment, and life insurance policies. Those are just some examples of collateral. Now, the question asking us, explain one benefit of collateral to the borrower. So let's handle the borrower first. Now for the borrower, now a key thing let's say here is in establishment of a business. So what they're saying here is that you're just starting a business and so you want some money. Now, the fact that you're just starting means that you do not have you don't have any track record, you don't have a history, so a bank don't really know how the business is going to operate, if it's profitable or not. So now the bank would be in a risky position if they just lend you money just like that. So what they would do is ask you for collateral that can actually cover the value of the loan. So if you fail to repay the loan, the bank would sell off the collateral, and then that would be their way out. So the benefit for the borrower is that they have something they can use to secure a loan. So it's used to secure a loan for when you're starting a business. So as a borrower, the collateral is used to secure a loan, especially in the absence of any financial records or any track record or anything like that the bank might want to see. So it helps to secure a loan. It gives you a higher level of securing a loan than if you had no collateral. Because if you had no collateral, you might not even get the loan to begin with. So for the borrower, the collateral is put in place to help them to secure the loan. So that's one benefit of collateral to the borrower. It helps to secure that loan that you would otherwise not be able to get because you have no history of anything. You have no track record, you have no bank statements, more than likely you have no stockpile of anything, and so the bank would not risk lending you money if you have nothing. Now the advantage, the benefit to the lender now, the bank, is of course very simple. The bank would use they have some sort of reassurance that if you fail to pay, they can recoup their money, they can get back their monies. And so the bank would be willing to lend you because they know that they can sell the asset, sell the collateral, and get back their money. So a secure loan allows the lender to take possession of assets if the borrower is unable to repay them. The assets can then be sold off by the lender to recover the amount of the loan. And so because they are able to recover the value of a secured business loan, if the business fails, a secure loan is less risky for the lender. So that's the benefit to the lender. They know that if this person fails to pay back my loan, I could just sell the collateral that they have and get back the value of the loan. For the borrower, they know that using collateral, if it's a good enough collateral, a good enough asset, they can actually get the loan that they seek. So those are the benefits to both parties. So collateral is used to secure loans from banks and other lenders who would not otherwise lend money to small business because of the financial risk involved. So that's it. That's very simple. And that's why you get the 6 marks. So for me, I would say it's 2 marks to define collateral, 2 marks to explain one benefit, 2 marks to the lender, and 2 marks to explain one benefit to the borrower, and then you get your full 6 marks for that one. And so that brings us to the end of question number 2 on the January 2021 CSEC Principles of Business paper 2. And so you know what to do now. If you want to see when question 3 drops, right? We have question 3 coming up next. You must define the term factor of production. Boom. So that's a little snippet right there. Question 3 coming up. So like the video, subscribe, hit the bell, and share the video, and keep in contact with the community and stuff like that. But for sure, hit the bell so you know when Learn SKN drops another video. All right, do that for me, please. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. All right.